everybody, I am Missy Matthews and welcome to Steelers Weekly. As always, we are getting you ready for the Steelers' upcoming game, so let's break it down for you.
You know, we're speculating some as it pertains to some of their schematics. We're speculating some, particularly as it pertains to their division of labor and their utilization of people. They got a new coaching staff, and so personality is not necessarily revealed, although a lot of their significant coaches in terms of coordinators and so forth have NFL resumes and experience that we can glean certain information from. You know, there is some concern about the unknown as you go into an opener in this environment.
All right, hi everybody, I'm Missy Matthews and welcome to our brand new show, Steelers Live, The Matchup. Each week we will be dissecting and getting you ready for the Steelers' upcoming opponent. So let's meet our panel this week. Mike Prisuta from the WDVE Morning Show helped me throughout training camp as well. We also have Craig Wolfley, former Steelers offensive lineman, and also former Steelers linebacker Arthur MOATS. You can also hear him on SNR. And guys, we made it to week one. Football starts tonight, of course, with the reigning Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs and Houston Texans. I really don't want to wait till Monday, but that is what the Steelers cards are in terms of getting ready for the New York Football Giants. Mike, do you like how I said that?
I'm proud of you.
Does it feel like it took forever to get here, guys? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, man, this has been one of the longest off seasons I felt we've ever had to endure, but it's finally here. I can't wait. I'm excited.
It is the longest off season I think any of us have ever had. It's like, you know, I am excited to see the Steelers play the Giants, but I would call them the New York bad football Giants.
All right, we are going to talk.
They're playing. I didn't know we were going to get here for sure. I really appreciated what Mike Tomlin said the other day, talking about, you know, there was doubts in his mind. He assumed in his players' minds, but days away, it feels great.
All right, well, the Steelers are back out on the practice field at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. So we have our first practice report of 2020. Not practicing today, Dave DeCastro, knee injury. Deontay Johnson, he is listed with a foot injury. So those two guys not practicing. The status report will come out on Saturday. So before we talk about the Giants, I want to know what you guys make of these 2020 Steelers. There was no preseason. We saw limited training camp. So Arthur, we'll start with you. As we sit here today, what are your thoughts on them?
I'm still excited about this team. When I look at the veterans that they have up there, obviously on offense and defense, and the return of Big Ben, everything is pointing towards them being able to have a very, very productive and successful season. I think about the things that happened for this team last year, and a lot of those growing pains that they took place, that's going to benefit them so much more this year, especially when you get Big Ben coming back. And all reports have been he's healthy and good to go and the best he's felt in years. So I'm excited to see him on Monday night.
All right, Wolf, what is your take as we sit here on the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers?
I got to tailgate with Arthur because the fact of the matter is all roads lead to 7 this year. It truly is. He's going to be the rising tide that lifts all the boats. And what's going to happen, I believe, most humbly, if you can start to put 20, 25, 30 points on the board and stake that defense to a lead, look out, because it's going to be like when they're feeding the piranha over at the aquarium, they stick a leg of lamb in there, and then because I think that defense can go wild going after some takeaways, you know, the interceptions, the fumbles, and everything else. When you get a lead, that defense can really double down and play hard.
All right, Triv, what do you think?
I think I'm more encouraged coming out of camp than I was going into camp. Particularly as it relates to the rookies. I started thinking early on in this pandemic process that it was going to be really difficult for anybody to get impactful contributions from their rookies, given all the time that everybody was going to miss, all the normal off-season preparation stuff. But from what I saw, Chase Claypool and Alex Highsmith, I think they're going to have an impact. I think that's going to make the Steelers better. I don't think they're the best team in the AFC, but I don't think they're far off.
All right, let's talk about the New York Giants, guys, the week one opponent for the Steelers. Just a little refresher. The last game between these two teams at MetLife Stadium was in 2012. The last time these two teams met in the regular season was 2016. In 2019, we know the Steelers' record 8-8. The Giants finished 4-12. So heading into this season, Coach Tomlin and the players have all talked about bringing back their core group of guys, being a veteran team. When you look at the New York Giants, new head coach, new staff, some new players. So I will propose to you, what is the biggest advantage? The Steelers being a veteran team or the unknown of the New York Giants with no preseason? Wolf, we'll start with you.
In my mind, most humbly, I think the biggest chip on the table is the fact that Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin, and he knows his guys. I mean, you think about being Joe Judge, you're coming into a team that was 4-12, had no offseason that you could virtually be able to, get a hold of these guys. Actually virtually, but the only thing about it is you don't know anything about them. They don't know anything about you. You can go back and forth zooming, and it's not until you start with the first remnants of training camp and progress that you introduce yourself to your guys and begin to understand what they're capable of doing. Mike Tomlin knows his strengths and weaknesses in real time on those sidelines, so when there's going to be some problems, he's there to make the decisions and he knows where to go with it.
All right, Pursuta, who are you giving the advantage to?
I think, in terms of knowing what's coming or not knowing what's coming, I give that edge to the Giants just because Judge has never been a coordinator. And, yeah, the Steelers have a pretty good idea what Jason Garrett did in Dallas and what Patrick Graham did in Miami and New England. But I still think the Giants are going to have more unfamiliarity in terms of the Steelers looking at them and having a pretty good feel for what they're going to do. Mike Tomlin acknowledged that. Ben Roethlisberger even talked about one of the keys in his mind being the adjustments the Steelers are going to have to make. He thinks they have the veteran staff and the veteran team to make those adjustments. But going in, leading into kickoff, I think the Giants will be more sure what they're getting than the Steelers will, for what that's worth.
All right, Arthur, break the tie. Which way are you going?
No, man, I'm agreeing with Wolf. Now, Pursuta definitely hit on some very key points in terms of, from a game planning standpoint, the Giants will definitely be able to be a lot more prepared. But when I look at the Steelers veterans, I look at how many proven commodities are on both offense and defense in Pittsburgh. The Giants just don't have the personnel for that. When we're talking about the Giants offense or that secondary, they just don't have the pieces or personnel that's going to be able to keep up with what the Steelers are going to be able to do. So regardless of them having a plan ahead of time, it's not going to matter when my guys are just better than your guys.
All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break. When we return, some fan questions to put you on your toes and see what you guys think about those questions and also the matchup to be looking for. We'll be right back when Steelers Live, the matchup returns.
Derek Watt is a excellent guy to bring aboard because of this. He brings the bang and explosiveness of a Rosie Nix, but he's also got a little more upside when he runs with the ball and he catches the ball. And those are the things that I think will separate Derek Watt from Rosie Nix.
Welcome back to Steelers Live, the matchup. The Steelers getting ready to travel to MetLife Stadium to play the New York Giants for Week 1. A little Monday Night Football fun fact for everybody going through my NFL notes this week. Since Monday Night Football debuted in 1970, the Steelers have played in 72 contests and hold a 48-24 mark under the lights on Monday, guys. That is the second best all-time Monday Night Football record behind the Seattle Seahawks. Welcoming back in our panel, Arthur, I will start with you first for this one. The show is called The Matchup. What matchup, it could be players, units, are you going to be zoning in on a Monday night when this game kicks off?
Man, I'm looking at this five-star matchup with Devin Bush and Saquon Barkley. We know what type of back Saquon is since he's come in the league, but at the same time, Devin Bush was very impressive his rookie season. When you watch him on tape, he grew a ton, especially late in the year against the run, his play recognition, and overall his confidence in coverage. I'm looking at him to have a big-time night because he's going to have plenty of opportunities with Saquon, and if he can win more in that matchup, it's going to be a phenomenal night for that defense.
All right, well, if I don't want to assume you're going to go with an O-line, D-line, but maybe I'm right, tell me what matchup you will be watching.
You know it, Missy. I mean, you can't help but want to watch Bud Dupree have a go with Andrew Thomas. I mean, you got a nice prime hunk of meat sitting at the left tackle there by the name of Andrew Thomas, who happens to be making his first start, okay? Now, if you're Bud Dupree, all you're saying is, turn me loose. Let me go. Let me get this guy, because this guy's big. He can kick step back, get off the line of scrimmage, but he gives up the inside. And I'm telling you something, I got a good feeling about Bud with that little spin move he's got. Arthur, you used to have that spin move yourself, buddy. And that spin move to the inside could be classic, because this guy has a tendency to overset to the outside. I'm liking it. I want to see Bud Dupree eat this guy up.
All right, Pursuta, your matchup.
No, I'll piggyback off Arthur a little bit. I want to see what happens when they throw the ball to Saquon Barkley. I think the Giants are going to do that a lot more this year than they did last year. I think he's the type of back. I don't know. I remember a couple of years ago when the Steelers' offense was just running through Le'Veon Bell and they were basically unstoppable. I think Saquon Barkley can be that kind of player. And if you look at that Steelers defense, no Mark Barron this year. They cut Vince Williams' snaps down last year. Now they're going to jack him back up again. He's going to be out there in passing situations. So is that an area that the Giants are going to attack? And are they going to attack it with Barkley? I think he's going to get, somewhere between 20 and 200 yards rushing. They're not going to completely stuff him. He's not going to run wild. But what he does in the passing game is intriguing to me.
All right, we had fans submit some questions for us as we got ready for the matchup, so let's get to the first one. We have 3 today that we want to go over. The first one is from Linda. She says, hi guys, I know Nix was hurt last year, meaning Rosie Nix, but with the addition of Derek Watt, do you think the Steelers will utilize the fullback more this year? Wolf, can you weigh in first?
Weigh in is the key term too, Missy. But anyhow, regardless, Derek Watt is a excellent guy to bring aboard because of this. He brings the bang and explosiveness of a Rosie Nix, but he's also got a little more upside when he runs with the ball and he catches the ball. And those are the things that I think will separate Derek Watt from Rosie Nix. Rosie was an explosive guy, like I said, excellent on special teams. Derek Watt can match him, but his upside is the extra stuff he'll bring offensively, and he's still one of those, I'm going to put my forehead right in your chin. He's part of the flat-nosed society that goes in and digs linebackers out.
All right, Arthur, what do you think about this one?
Man, so for me, I can definitely see a scenario where they will use Derek Watt a lot more, but I think, man, with the emergence of Big Ben coming back and being healthy, and you look at the weapons he has now with Chase Claypool, obviously Deontay Johnson, James Washington, and Juju, and that's not even counting Vance and Eric Ebron. I see them throwing the ball a lot more. I think that Ben is going to, especially against this Giants secondary, I see him taking advantage of that early and often, and I don't really see us using the running game like that in this particular matchup.
All right, Triv, what are your thoughts?
I think Derek Watt is going to be really essential when somebody is punting the ball or trying to return a punt, when somebody is kicking off or trying to return a kickoff. Derek Watt is going to be the man. Other than that, Arthur hit it on the head. They have so many weapons. If you want to throw the ball to running, I mean, he's a decent receiver statistically, Derek Watt. But if you want to throw the ball to a back, you got Jalen Samuels and you got McFarland perhaps chipping in that capacity. I think other than short yardage or goal line, the fullback should be not seen and not heard. And, when it's time for special teams, get them out there. The rest of the time, Arthur, help me out here. The rest of the time, let the athletes take over.
Hey, I'm with you, man. Keep it with the small personnel, man. Get after them. We know what James Conner can do, especially in the pass game. So for me, man, I'm looking at that like we don't want to slow it down, man. When you start bringing a fullback, you've heard Coach Tomlin talk about this numerous times. Fullbacks attract attention. Typically, I know when we were playing in Pittsburgh, anytime we saw a fullback, we were going to blitz it or bring some type of pressure around it. You don't want that type of attention, man, especially versus a team like the Giants where you have a clear advantage from a passing standpoint. So that's why I just don't see it happening.
The point is, yeah, they attract attention, and you get a little running game going, then all of a sudden you got play action because you linebackers love to go after the fullback, right? And then you suck them in, and then you throw the ball. That's the only thing. I love the fullback. I love when a fullback rips in there and tears things up because, as you said, Arthur, and it's very true, they attract a lot of attention. Use them right.
It's time for a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Steelers Weekly continues.
Every year, we come together as a team, working towards a common goal, a standard set by one family. 2 historic venues.
Welcome to Heinz.
Just 3 head coaches in over 50 years.
Let's go!
4 championships in 6 seasons.
And the Super Steelers.
5 decades of success.
Rush the quarterback.
6 Lombardi trophies to remind us. 7 is the next step. It all starts Monday night.
All right, let's move on to our next fan question. Not asking you to predict the Steelers' record for 2020, but wants to get your feelings here. With this being such an awkward season due to the pandemic, of course, do you see the Steelers having a better than 8-8 record, and why? Arthur, we will start with you.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll have a better than 8-8 record. When we're just talking about from a talent standpoint alone, based off of that, this is a double-digit win team. Let's be real about it. Offensively and defensively, especially with Big Ben coming back. Now, to see how far they can go is really going to be based upon Big Ben, how his elbow is as the season progresses, and ultimately how healthy they can stay. Because other than that, it's not going to be too many rosters around the league that you're going to say, hey, they have just too much talent for the Steelers. So just off of that alone, man, I definitely see them being a 10-plus win team.
All right, Pursuta, what's your thoughts? Yeah. Oh, look at you incorporating some artistic crafts. I like it. I think that says yes. We only saw the E pretty much.
Yes, because Ben, they're better than 8-8. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Pursuta bringing his A game for the first Steelers Live matchup. I like it. All right. Well, if no pressure, Pursuta came out pretty strong here.
What can I say? I bid adieu to Michael. Michael came out strong. All I can do is tailgate on these other 2 guys and say, yes, they're going to be above 8-8. And look, the secret sauce, I think, this year could be the Canadian effect. What does Matt Canada do with some of that pre-snap stuff? And Chase Claypool, what does he bring to the overall passing game? I think it's exciting. That's the secret sauce.
We are going to take a quick break, but don't worry, Steelers Weekly, we'll be right back. All right, guys, Steelers at Giants, MetLife Stadium, Monday Night Football. What a way to kick off the 2020 season. So what is going to be your key? Triv, we will start with you. Your key to the game.
You wanted a whiteboard? You got it.
Yes.
Can you read that?
Hold it back a little bit.
Like, it's physicality.
In case you can't read it, I'm making this up on the fly here. No, the matchups are really interesting. What schemes the Giants are going to have, we don't know. How will Matt Canada tweak the Steelers' approach on offense? Don't really know. But I liked something that Joe Judge said leading up to the game, the Giants' first-year coach. He said that the team that is more physical is going to win. Boy, isn't it funny how that happens more often than not, how those 2 things kind of go together. And one thing we do know about Joe Judge, he's trying to make the Giants into a bash and smash, tough-minded, tough, hard-nosed, blue-collar. Wolf, what do you call it? The flat-nosed society. He wants them sticking their face in the fan. This is a team that had very little success last year, has a new head coach, has been whipped into a frenzy in training camp, if the reports are correct. And neither team is used to hitting, right? So, Arthur, Wolf, you guys, you know what you're supposed to do, but you're not really prepared to do it as a player. So you're going to go out there and try to be physical. Who can maintain? Who can raise their level of physicality to what it has to be and keep it there the longest? All
right. What is your take, Moats? What is your key to the game?
Well, first off, Pursuta, just to respond to what you were saying, man, I love the physicality element of it, and I know Joe Judge is preaching all this tough talk, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the tough guys, the physical guys, it really doesn't matter. And we know in Pittsburgh, these guys hit you in the mouth every play. We've seen that even last year when they were going 8-8, they still were a very physical team. But for me, man, my key to victory is Big Ben taking advantage of that Giants secondary. Outside of Jabril Peppers, they don't really have a lot of experience in that secondary with James Bradbury, Corey Ballantyne, and Julian Love. Those guys don't have a lot of productivity. They don't have a lot of experience. And Ben, I mean, if everything is happening like how he says, how he feels and things like that, he should take full advantage of these guys, especially with the weapons that he has. So I think, man, if Ben can come out here and dominate that matchup, yeah, offense is going to look great on Monday.
All right, Wolf, what will be your key for Monday Night Football?
I think it's two-part, and both these guys are right on, all right? But I think what's going to be number one is who can ramp up to game speed the fastest. I mean, you've got to get those mental RPMs going. This is not a scrimmage. This is not training camp. This is not preseason. This is Monday Night Football. And the second part of that is it's going to be in an empty stadium, so who can get comfortable in an awkward situation? I mean, think about it. You're going out there and there's nobody in a cavernous stadium. I didn't think much of it until I was watching practice at Heinz Field, and you could hear Mike Tomlin shouting at guys out on the field. It's an awkward situation. I know if we were playing back in the day, Tunch Ilkin, I have to tell him to shut up because he'd be threatening guys. I'm going to kill you, and go, hey, back off that, okay? Everybody can hear you. That's not a smart thing to say. You know what I mean? So the fact is, you got Big Ben, like you said, Arthur. You got physicality like the Steelers, like you said, Michael, and it's going to come down to Ben having been on the biggest stage. He's going to ramp up just fine. And let's face it, you want to talk about uncomfortable situations? I mean, you're talking Ben Roethlisberger got his first start in the aftermath of a hurricane. I think he's going to be able to handle this one pretty well.
Thanks so much for joining me, guys. We look forward to Monday night Steelers versus Giants at MetLife Stadium. That is going to do it for us. Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next time.